Hey, welcome back everyone to a very special episode of the show. It's our favorite time of the year. Today is the second annual Verdict Oscars special. We've got an amazing episode for y'all today, so stay tuned. Hello everyone, my name is Clark, and today I'm joined by my co-hosts, Jazmin and Michael. Say hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Just like last year, every member of the Verdict cast and crew has anonymously voted for who they think should win each category we are going to discuss today, and we're actually going to be finding out the results live. Fortunately, we weren't able to record this before we actually got the Oscars results, but I voted before those came in.
Same.
Yeah, so we'll give our opinions on those too. But the first category that we're going to be looking at is Best Picture. The nominees for this category include Anora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, and Wicked. This is a big pot of good films. There's a lot of good choices here. Who did y'all go for if we wanted to get into it?
Yeah, I mean, I personally, don't come for me, but I voted for Wicked.
I don't blame you for that.
I thought it was an amazing movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I've watched it time and time again since it came out.
Yeah, what about you, Michael?
Honestly, I think I voted for The Brutalist. There's a lot of stuff that I actually didn't really watch on this, list, but doing research, I feel like it actually seemed like a pretty good movie. I can't remember where the dude was moving from, but going to a new, coming into the United States all by himself. It seemed like, I watched the trailer, it seemed like a really, psychological thriller, just watching his portrayal of, America and the United States. But yeah, like you said, there are a lot of pretty good movies like Wicked, and Emilia Perez had a lot of news throughout the media. But like I said, I went for something that very settling to me personally.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, I did see The Brutalist. That was probably my second pick for this category. I loved The Brutalist. It's a very long movie, but it's very powerful in its messaging. Like you said, I mean, just it really emotionally impacted me, from performances to the cinematography to the writing. Every bit of it was just unbelievable. And so yeah, it was I think that's probably the best one here if I had to go. But my pick, I went with my favorite, and I knew this was going to be my pick ever since it came out. But I'm a big nerd, so I picked Dune too. I love Denis Villeneuve. He's my favorite director, so it was bound to happen. I think he was underrepresented in this award season, but so that's why I went with it.
You think it lived up to the hype to the first one?
Oh, and then some. I think I've come around on the first one so much. I think that one's pretty airtight, but this one, it's an 11 out of 10.
Wow.
I don't know. I know it's very high praise, but
See, it's interesting because I really connected with the other Timothée Chalamet movie that came out, A Complete Unknown.
We're gonna get into that in the Best Actor category.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. It's pretty impressive that he was here for 2 movies in the span of a year. That's nothing short of impressive. But there's a lot of good representation in this category. I mean, like you said, Wicked, it's really cool that there's a musical here. It's really cool that The Substance, there's not a lot of horror in this category. So I think it's really nice that was able to be included. Other really good ones like Anora and I'm Still Here. I saw that recently. I really appreciated that one. I think the one that actually won this in the Oscars last night, as of time of recording, it was Anora, and it was, like I said, it wasn't my pick, but I think I kind of get it. It was really cool.
Yeah, I honestly, I wasn't really too keen on Anora. I don't know. It just, I'm personally not, a rom guy, I'm not going to be the one to, just be like, hey, let's turn this on. But I feel like the approach they went through is, something that we haven't seen before. It's especially in our day and age. I don't want to get too much into it, but you really don't know what's going to happen through love.
No, you're right. Yeah, that's a very, very prominent theme, I suppose.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of good variety in this category, though, in general, and just a lot of good films this year. Very different films, so it's kind of hard to compare them and pick just one.
I agree. I think last year was pretty everything was so good, but now there's a lot of good variety, like you said. There's a lot of good different ones. But yeah, I think Anora, putting it up against these huge, very thematically important films like Conclave and The Brutalist. It's less plot driven. It's more like a character study, and I really tend to gravitate towards those films, so I do like it. But like I said, it's going to be Dune 2 for me. I think it's great action, great writing all together. So I'm Dune. You are Wicked.
And The Brutalist.
Solid picks. I guess we're going to have to find out who the winners are. Take it away, Hugh.
Hello, America. Thank you very much for having me here. My name is Hugh, and it is my honor to present the winners of each category for you today. Independent films are a very big part of the Oscar season. It was a big point of emphasis last night, and a lot of awards that were getting announced. And I wanted to say, as someone who worked on an independent film last year myself in Scallywags, that I am honored by the Oscars to receive as many nominations as Challengers did in the calendar year of 2025. Thank you so much, Los Angeles and the Academy. You mean so much to us all here at Brandon's Farms Production. And now, the Oscar for Best Picture goes to Wicked! Wicked wins the Oscar. Wow,
Would you look at that?
Congratulations to Wicked. To all of you wizards of Waverly Place, or whatever the previous IP was, thank you very much for your consideration and your talents in film.
Wow.
Honestly, I feel like that makes a lot more sense too, because it was very hyped.
It was. I mean, I think it was very smart. I think when they released it, really did it a lot of favors.
Yes.
A lot of it came out towards the end, but it's very fresh in everyone's memory. It's a good memory. It's a good time at the movies. I think it's good. It's cool.
I think it was an amazing movie that, many different people can view and enjoy versus some of the other films that maybe if you like horror, then you'll like it versus, it leaves out people that don't like horror.
I think that's an interesting viewpoint. I agree with that.
And also kind of just like the, like the Barbie movie, a lot of people have, the women's movement, those movies coming out
true.
that, show how much they impacted. And then you have Ariana Grande and Cynthia. I can't. What's her last name?
Arivio?
Yes.
Yeah. I forget. We'll see it in the next category. But speaking of, we're going to talk about Best Actor first. The nominees for that category include Adrien Brody for The Brutalist, Timothée Chalamet for A Complete Unknown, Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing, Ralph Fiennes for Conclave, and Sebastian Stan in The Apprentice. Now, I'm going to go on my little rant. I'm going to get mine out of the way. I went with Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing, which y'all have heard me give praises to these past few weeks. I think it's very, once again, unrepresented. I think A24, this should have been the front runner for this. This could have gotten so many more awards. And I feel like it even should have, last night it went to Adrien Brody, which, once again, I love that film. It was very deserved. But I love Sing Sing, what Coleman Domingo did with that. It was just so incredible to me. I would have loved to see him pick that up. So that's who I went for. Who did y'all pick out of this array of talent?
I picked Timothée Chalamet in Complete Unknown. I watched that movie with my boyfriend earlier, and I genuinely enjoyed it, both of us. And going into it, he didn't know who Bob Dylan was. I had been familiar with some of his music previously, and so seeing his life story unfold in that way, I think Timothée did an amazing job just taking on not that character, that person, because he's a real person, I think that's a really hard thing to do.
No, I agree. What about you, Michael?
I also picked Timothée Chalamet. I feel like not just like you were saying, the personas that he, I guess, accent. It's a really noticeable. You can really feel the character, like in Dune 2. I've really never been a fan of Dune. I've never really watched the first one, but like clips I've seen, he's like a very I'm sorry, I didn't mean to dog you there, but like clips on like TikTok and stuff. He's like a very hard, like you can see the emotions that he comes from his acting.
Yeah, I think that's why. I mean, either role here, I think Timothy. I'm a big fan of him, so I think if he takes it here in the Oscar special, I'll be very satisfied. But yeah, I feel like in Dune Part 2, I feel like you could argue that his portrayal of Bob was more true and harder because I know he prepared a lot more for that role. It took him like 5 years. He signed on for that movie a long time ago. And Dune 2, though, I feel like he really he had so much more emotion, like you were saying, and he went through like such a fascinating arc from the beginning and the end to that like just it's almost completely different. I think his work in both films though are really, really impressive though. Another actor worth mentioning here that had two really impressive performances this year that I think the wrong one is here on this list. Sebastian Stan in The Apprentice. I would have given it to him for A Different Man. For those who have seen that, I think it's incredible. It got some other awards at other shows, but I think for the most part, it was much more of, once again, emotionally driven role. I mean, Trump obviously is kind of devoid of that, so I guess you could say that it's a good depiction. But I don't know. I just really I felt more moved by A Different Man. Mm-hmm. That's just me.
Interesting.
All the other picks though, really great. I think it's only right to get to the bottom of this and see who won this in this category.
Yes, absolutely.
Very true.
Let's find out.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you again for having me. It's an honor to be here. Acting is a craft. It's a form of art, and it's something that makes you a ton of money, or at least it used to. Some people, they still make a lot of money, but if you really want to try and find a career that will make you a ton of money someday, I highly suggest make your kid act as soon as possible, from the time they're 4 years old. Make sure that they just get out of that diaper phase and then they're ready for that big screen. I mean, there's so many things you could do with the 4-year-old on screen. But the award, as for the winner of the Best Actor category, the Oscar will go to a tie. We have a tie today. We have Colman Domingo and Timothy Chalamet. We're going to have to find 2 different Oscar awards. Wow.
Wow. I mean, that's kind of interesting that our picks up here is what tied. I mean,
yeah.
I wonder, I think we got like 10 total responses, so I wonder who else came with Colman Domingo.
It seems like the rest of the verdict crew were also pretty split on this vote.
It sounds like it. That's really interesting. I mean, I don't know if this has ever happened in Oscar history. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is
a tie. What are we going to do?
What are we going to do? We might have
to split it in half.
We'll say we could argue about it all day long, but I think what we're really going to have to do is just move on to the Best Actress. There's enough praise to go around. So the next category we'll be looking at. The nominees for this category include Cynthia Erivo for Wicked, Carla Sofia Gascon for Amelia Perez, Mikey Madison in Honora, Demi Moore in The Substance, and Fernanda Torres in I'm Still Here. Wow, yeah, once again, a lot of talent. I think I most recently, out of all of these Oscar picks, I saw I'm Still Here about last week, so it's very fresh in my brain, and that's, once again, it's kind of like Timothy's performance. It's a real story about families in Brazil that it's a very I don't even want to give it away, but it's very emotional. It's very touching. I guess it's not really a spoiler if it happened in real life, but it's really just worth finding out for yourself because I didn't know anything going into it, and it really moved me. So that's why I think in this last minute here, right before we went for voting, I went with Fernanda. What about y'all, though?
For me personally, I had to go with my girl Cynthia. I think
Yeah.
Her performance in Wicked was amazing, the way she took on that role, especially, with the Wicked musical previously having such a following and fan base. It's a lot of pressure to live up to that in this movie, and I think she did it beautifully. I think her and her co-star Ariana just had a great on-screen rapport and chemistry, and they really carried this movie for me.
I could not agree more. Yeah.
I feel way different. Like I said, I feel like Wicked was a little overhyped, but it was a good movie. But personally, I went with my girl Demi Moore and The Substance. She's, I wouldn't say she's really like an icon. Well, she is an icon from, the Scream movies. But, just watching her portrayal of, what's actually happening in, the movie, I don't know. It was very... She did a good job, just to say the least.
It's hard to describe. I agree.
Yeah. My runner-up was Mikey Madison and Honora, but like I said, Demi Moore is just such an iconic name in the horror movie franchise. So
oh yeah,
that's why I just went for her.
Your runner-up, Mikey Madison, I think is who actually won the Oscar for this category.
That's right.
Last night,
Yeah, that is right.
right.
Yeah. So and
her performance was also really, really well.
I agree, and once again, she's also kind of moved her way into that Scream franchise. So it's it's kind of funny to see the overlap.
The full circle.
Yeah, a little bit. So I wouldn't be surprised if Honora took it here. I think everyone has a shot. I mean, Cynthia, it's hard to not talk about that performance without mentioning that iconic scene where she hits that note. I'm not going to do it here. I'll break the mic.
Amazing.
But yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about.
Ethereal.
Everyone, it's like already iconic.
Everybody just knows about it though.
Yeah, it's
beautiful
so
voice.
Culturally significant already, and it already was, like you said. It's been a big thing in our culture for about 20 years now. But yeah, Demi Moore, I think this was pretty deserved nomination, but it's also could be seen as a legacy nomination. People often reference, I don't know if I entirely agree with that here, but like I said, I think she could take it. There's a lot of interesting choices, so let's find out from our host, Hugh.
Hello again. Actresses. It's fantastic art form again. Actors and actresses, we like to separate them with that gendered label, but they're all actors, and they're all actresses. But I was actually talking to Demi Moore backstage about her performance in this, and she has a lot of things to say about the other people in this category. Oh man. But let's get right to it. As for the winner of the Best Actress category, the Oscar this year goes to Demi Moore. Now she doesn't have to be mad at everybody anymore.
Wow.
That is kind of surprising. I thought if Wicked got Best Picture, I thought that Cynthia was going to take it, but
I agree.
I did not expect this many of our crew to gun for the Substance like that. You'd love to see it.
They must have been really impressed with her performance.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's hard. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, either way, there's so many good picks here. I might have been the only person who went for I'm Still Here. That's okay though. Y'all will catch it on streaming. Y'all will see.
Yeah. When we find out. Find out.
But as for the next category, we're going to be looking at Best Animated Feature, and the nominees for that category include Flow, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, and The Wild Robots. I always love this category. It's always such a fun one.
Oh, yeah.
You can pick any of these and just have a good time, really. I think the biggest movie, in terms of box office last year, was Inside Out 2. So it was interesting to see that here. It didn't really stand out from an animation standpoint. It didn't blow me away as much as Flow's very satisfying animation, or The Wild Robot, or the nice stop motion kind of feel of Wallace and Gromit. But it was still a very nice and heartwarming movie. So I liked it.
I totally get what you mean. The animation from Inside Out 2 might not have stood out, but I think the storyline was pretty deep and really touching. I think it was a great reflection of, you know, what anxiety feels like for a lot of people in a way that, you know, others who don't deal with anxiety would be able to understand and get a good grasp of, I think.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah.
I definitely agree with that too, because I picked Inside Out 2. Just because I literally, you know, it was a very anticipated movie in my household. Like my girlfriend, like as soon as that movie came out, she wanted to watch it with like a movie theater. She's not the one to go to the movie theater. But like you said though, you know, not everyone, you know, as you grow up, you start learning these new emotions. And I feel like this wasn't the best animated, but you know, it gives the storyline, you know, people can, you know, just come to realize, you know, there's new emotions as you grow.
Oh yeah. And it was a great demonstration of how, you know, we might feel one way, but you know, stuffing those feelings down, it builds and builds and it can become very overwhelming. I think it was a great demonstration of showing how something so small can turn into something much bigger for someone.
Yeah, really a good message that everyone can resonate with. Like a lot of people, they call animated movies the kid movies, but everyone can kind of appreciate everything here for what they are, I feel like.
But I also loved Wallace and Gromit.
Of course. I mean, it's so
I
charming.
grew up watching them,
Of course.
so that has a place in my heart too.
So which pick did you go for then?
Overall, I picked Inside Out. You know, I have a soft spot for Wallace and Gromit always, but I felt like that was, you know, the most applicable for the most amount of people. I think everybody could get something from that movie and enjoy it.
I agree. And you said you're also Inside Out too?
But my runner-up was The Wild Robot. I saw the trailers of it, and it was like, you know, it seems like a kid movie, but, you know, at the deeper meaning, it can have like a lot more, you know, a message that resonates to a lot more people.
Of course, of course. For me personally, I picked Flow. It just looks cute. And let's find out the winners. That's all I have to say about that. The results for this category, please, Hugh, let us know.
Hello, welcome back. Hi, animation, right? It's important. So yeah, like it's one thing to, you know, shoot a movie, put the camera up, and then you make sure the lights are good, you make sure that the microphone is all fantastic and everything.
But the real moral of the story is, when it comes to animated movies, that you've got to have a good amount of color to them. You know, it's hard to make a movie and have it not feel like a colorful adventure. We had a lot of really good. We had a lot of many different good movies in this category this year. I like to take time to explain them all to you, but that's okay. We don't really have time for that. Anyway, for Best Animated Feature category, the Oscar goes to Inside Out 2. How about that? Good for you, Disney. That's awesome. Disney?
Yeah, much needed win from Pixar. I think they're definitely gonna be all right. They're gonna make it.
I hope so.
I think they're on the come up.
They just wish that they were like that in real life, though.
Yeah.
That's, what, 2 years in a row that their Pixar movie got snubbed.
Well, they took it this year, so.
At least for us.
Yeah, at least for us. And that's what really matters. Okay, so the final category, we're going to wrap this up real quick. We're going to look at Best Director. And the nominees for this category include Sean Baker for Nora, Brady Corbett for The Brutalist, James Mangold for A Complete Unknown, Jacques Audiard, I believe, for Amelia Perez, and Coralie Farjah for The Substance. And I've already said my piece on a lot of these directors. I'm a big fan of Sean Baker's style. James Mangold, what he did with this movie was pretty impressive. Not my favorite from him, but a good return to form, I think, with some of his past work, like Walk the Line. It's good to see Coralie here for this movie. And overall, as much, I feel like I'm a bigger fan of Sean because I've seen more of his movies now, but with what Brady was able to do with The Brutalist on a $10 million budget and become like one of the most highly esteemed films of the year is nothing short of just genius. So that's why I went with him. Who did y'all go with?
I went with James Mangold for Complete Unknown. Like I've already said, I thought that was an amazing movie. I thought it was done really, really well. I enjoyed the storyline, the acting, the aesthetics. I, have liked Bob Dylan's music previously, and I think Timothée Chalamet did an amazing portrayal of him in that movie.
Yeah, I completely agree. What about you, Michael?
I went with Sean Baker. I'm not, too keen on, directing and all that, but, the cinematography of a lot of, his work is just amazing. Like, I know one thing you were talking about was the Florida Project.
Yes.
I actually didn't know that Sean Baker directed that. Like I said, I'm a sucker for cinematography and, shot composition, so if you can make that camera look nice, then you got my vote.
That's fair.
That is so fair, yeah. I think overall this would probably be my pick, but as of the movies that they're nominated for this year, I just have to give it to Brutals because it's just incredible. It's such a feat of filmmaking, and it's like 4 hours long, and everything looks so good. But yeah, we have our votes: Brady, James, and Sean. Hugh, please give us the results for our last category.
Hi, yes, I would like to apologize on behalf of the Austin Peay Oscars for my demonstration of jumping up on that last one. I did not realize that it was offensive in some countries. But I would like to sit here and recognize that directors, they go through a lot to make their movies. It's not as easy as just turning a camera on, although some movies it kind of feels that way. But directing does take a lot of skill, a lot of pointing, a lot of shouting, a lot of rewriting and stuff, a lot of making everybody else mad. But at the end of the day, like being on a film, I feel like is more of a family bonding experience. At least that's what I've been told. As for the winner of the Best Director category, I'd also like to thank Austin Peay on behalf of the Oscar Academy. That I would like to present this final Oscar for Best Director to Sean Baker. Wow, how about that? We actually matched one that happened in real life. Let's talk about that.
I guess that is our first, and that's pretty. Yeah, like I said, that's fair. It's deserving. He's a great filmmaker. It's funny that we only got one, but
Yeah.
I like our results better. Ours, like I said, this is
more true,
Yeah, so that about rounds up our Oscar special for this year. We're definitely going to have to do this again next year, but
Absolutely.
As for the next episode, you're going to have to make sure to tune in and find out what that is. So we'll see you then. Thanks again for joining us, and goodbye.